Well, it's Tuesday, the 30th of December, 2025, less than 48 hours to the new year 2026. But it's a day pregnant with pleasant possibilities. Good morning. Welcome to your perfect morning starter on Channels Television. I am Bukola Koka.
And I'm Kayode Okikilo. Counted down to the end of 2025 started literally yesterday. Here we are. But let's begin with updates. First off, we can tell you now that heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua and another passenger are stable after comprehensive clinical assessments conducted on them at a Lagos medical facility. This was contained in different statements by authorities, both in Lagos, Ogun State, and even the president himself put out a statement about the incident. A very sad one happened on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which sadly led to the death of two of Anthony Joshua's close friends and vital team members.
God, a very heartbreaking one from yesterday. This accident reportedly happened on the Makun end of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway while the world heavyweight champion was on his way to his hometown in Shagamu. And according to reports, hours before, he had just been, having a good time engaging in a sport with his friends without any prior knowledge that this was going to happen. We understand that two of his personal aides and friends died at the scene of the accident, and the pictures are too gory to share. But thankfully, the heavyweight champion, according to reports, and another passenger are in stable condition. But preliminary findings from the Federal Road Safety Corps said this occurred as a result of overspeeding, with the driver, now the world heavyweight champion, overtaking another truck ahead of it and rammed into another vehicle right after overspeeding. This is very heartbreaking, but we're grateful that the world heavyweight champion is in stable condition, and we just hope for a better management of such events in the future. We understand that he's a global figure, hence the crowd, but the management was not very savory. He's been exposed in, this is his most vulnerable state, and you find, people taking their phones and recording a man who should be protected and should have been, put on a stretcher almost immediately. That also speaks to, the presence or the absence of ambulance services, to help get him to safety and, to receive first aid. But we didn't find that happening immediately. What we saw was a very uncomfortable scene where, Nigerians were recording their beloved Anthony Joshua in an inglorious state.
Certainly, and you can just imagine what was going through his mind. Right now. He had just lost Senagami, his longtime strength and conditioning coach, and Latif Lats Ayodele, his personal trainer and confidant. I mean, these are his brothers, the voices in his corner through triumphs, through setbacks, the ones who shared, laughs with him over table tennis. He just put up a post, which is still actually on his social media, playing table tennis just hours before this happened. As a trained boxer, 29 wins, 4 losses, this will definitely be the biggest losses of his life, of his career. Honestly, life dealt him a really heavy blow. So our hearts, our prayers are with him and the families of his closest friends, Senagami and Latif Lats Ayodele. Very sad one. This is a conversation we'll be having on the show today with the authorities, just to walk you through what exactly happened before, during, and of course the aftermath of this fatal accident. It was said that the SUV rammed into a stationary truck just on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which was packed just on the side of the highway. A very sad one. The president released a statement, as I said earlier on, saying that he spoke by phone with Anthony Joshua and personally conveyed his condolences over the death of his two associates and wished him well and prayed for him, assuring that he's receiving the best care in the hospital. The president also spoke with Anthony Joshua's mother and prayed for her, and he says that she was appreciative of the call and would of course be following this, as we said, on the program today. Well, let's also tell you that another sad road traffic accident involving a Nigerian Union of Journalists bus conveying journalists to Gombe State after one of their colleagues' wedding in Kaltungo local government area of Gombe State occurred, leading to the death of 7 journalists. So it's also a sad day for the Nigerian Union of Journalists, losing these colleagues in that very sad incident. They had gone for the wedding in Kaltungo, but we understand that the bus's tire burst on the return journey around Kumo town in Ako local government area of Gombe State, causing the car to spiral out of control and veer off to a journey in bushes. And there you see the aftermath of that accident and the NUJ bus conveying our colleagues. And those who lost their lives in that unfortunate incident are Zara Umar, a manager news and senior special assistant to the governor in the office of the First Lady; Manu Haruna Kwame, a manager administration NTA; Isa Lawan, a film editor at NTA; Musa Tabra, a retired manager news; Aminu Adamu, who's senior driver; Adams Denladi of Star Times; and Judith Kutus, information officer with the Gombe State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB.
Another sad one, and our condolences go out to our colleagues at the Nigerian Television Authority and the Nigerian Union of Journalists on this incident. We hope that they have the fortitude at this time to bear this irreparable loss, and we pray for the protection of the family members left behind after this very, very sad incident. And we also pray for increased safety on our roads and better management, of commuting on our roads. But on to other very important matters as far as politics is concerned. This morning, the Minister of the FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has been speaking in what is described as an end-of-year media chat, and he's replied Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, on his own earlier allegations that Minister Nyesom Wike had promised to hold the PDP for Mr. President after a meeting, that they had in 2023. The minister spoke during this media chat and had quite a lot to say besides what happened with the G5 governors in that meeting. Let's listen to the Honorable Minister and we'll be back.
The point is that you can be helped through several ways. And one of such ways, the President looked at it, I will support you with this, with this, with this, with this. And that's why, you think that that's not enough for you. And so, it baffled me, I will not lie to you. Because if such a thing took place, I would have told you, yes. It never took place. Go from autumn. In fact, they all called me when they had this thing. They said, what kind of rubbish is this? How can he say that I went for a meeting and then I said this? I can. In any case, who does not know my position as regards to Tribu's president? Do I need to tell him that? Nigerians have had me say severally, I'm going to support the president. So how would I now go and tell him, President, don't worry, I will hold down PDP for you? It doesn't make sense.
Minister of the FCT there, Nyesom Wike, giving his own side to the story. And in other parts, he did addressed the issue in many other ways. I recall some portions of that interview where he said that indeed there was a meeting between himself, the other G5 governors, and he mentioned their names, inclusive of Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, and that the meeting, at that meeting, the Chief of Staff to the President was there, and they had gone to see the President on a certain matter. He wasn't quite specific on the matter, but he said it was after the elections. And he doubled down on his position expressed earlier in River State over the weekend, where he said that indeed, chanting Bola on your mandate, we shall stand, or defection to the All Progressives Congress will not guarantee governors a second term. So what are we making of the minister's position this morning? Coyote.
Well, politics really, and this is what we've seen over time. What I hate to see is politics affecting governance. There are real issues to be dealt with. Yes, for the average politician, they're thinking of the next, let me call it the next meal, the next ticket in that sense, winning election, or at least being on the winning side. That's really what it is for the average politician. But we forget that there is a huge role of governance to be played in between. In fact, amidst all of that, which is the primary concern, right? Politics is really just to show optics to people and say, okay, we are better than these ones, even though most times they're one and the same, right? So it's all politics. I just want governance, the real issues. I mean, we have the accident that just happened at Gombe on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. What are we learning from it? What does government have to say about the learnings when an air mishap happens? You see just how they rally around and say, what are the learnings from this? Let's get the black box. How can we make air travel safer? Where did we drop the ball? What was we do? And they incorporate that both in training, in building infrastructure to ensure that they reduce that to a large extent. So my question to all of those in government and politics is, what have you learned in 2026? How are you going to improve governance in 2025 rather? How are you going to improve governance for Nigerians? I just think this should be a sober moment for people in government. What happened in 2025? Where did we drop the ball? How can we improve on governance? But again, am I asking for too much?
Well, Kade, but because matters of finances are also involved in some of these allegations, so we must be forthright to speak to the conduct and the character, and of the nature of our politics. If the minister of the FCT says, the allegations made by the Oyo State governor is to the contrary, but he didn't tell us the nature of what was disclosed, granted that it may be confidential at that level, but a more effective countering would have been required, such that, it punctures holes in the position expressed by the Oyo State governor. And of course, if we could call out events that have trailed 2023 in the People's Democratic Party. The minister's position is quite, different from the experience of members of the People's Democratic Party and the structure, the current structure of the People's Democratic Party, which, has now, broken almost irretrievably into two groups. And the minister also going ahead to say that, a defection to the All Progressives Congress will not guarantee governors a second term. The last we checked, Minister Nyesom Wike is not the national party of the All Progressives Congress. As a matter of fact, he hasn't defected yet to the All Progressives Congress. But if we went to River State to do a check on what is happening with the PDP and with the APC in River State, you get us more confused than those of us who are seated here and wonder who is the leader of the PDP in River State, or who is the leader of the All Progressives Congress in River State. The intervention of Mr. President in the last few months in the politics of River State hasn't particularly led to peace. So the minister's explanation, I don't think it was, 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 it was elicits more questions
Indeed.
than the answers that he has provided.
For all the corruption allegations, we have anti-corruption agencies, the FCC, ICPC, do their jobs, all right? It's beyond all of this talk from both parties. If anybody is caught in corruption, we have the FCC and the ICPC. So here's a reminder, a lot of allegations are flying around. Please, well, not please, do your job basically and investigate and let Nigerians know the truth about these things. But let's switch gears now and show you how the dailies are reporting the big stories of the day. It is Tuesday, December the 30th, 2025. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. Well, Mr. Denny Fetayo joins us, a public affairs analyst. Mr. Fetayo, good morning. It's good to have you on the program. A couple of dailies that we have for Nigerians today, 2 days to the end of the year, and you can almost guess what's on the front pages. So let's start off with Vanguard newspaper. The Vanguard newspaper leads with what we just spoke to. PDP crisis, Wike attacks Makinde Fubara. Says Makinde lied that I am holding PDP for Tinubu. Fubara has no political structure going to APC, he says, adds that governor's defection belated, and PDP fumes over claims of non-existence of party in Rivers. Well, that is a big story. The big pictures on the front page tell what some people consider an even bigger story because it concerns life. Horror crash. Anthony Joshua rushed to Duchess Hospital. 2 aides dead. Overspeeding, wrong overtaking, responsible for crash. That's from the FRC. And as we said, we'll have the FRC live on the show today, any moment from now, to speak to this matter. But Mr. Fatayo, which of these stories catch your fancy?
Well, first and foremost, I want to sympathize with the aides or friends of Anthony Joshua and their family, and of course the lover of boxing all over the world, because what happened yesterday was so tragic, and in as much as it has happened, I also want to implore us, as we have the remaining few days to, to the new year, that we should be mindful of our speed, and also FRS, they can do more, truck parking on the highway and all of that. So, but it's just a tragic moment, and we sympathize with them. I will pray that the Lord will comfort them. And also moving to Minister Wike, some Wike making all those counter allegation, or to say Makinde, the Governor Makinde was giving 50 billion and all of that. Just like you said, these are the things that should not be taken lightly, especially our anti-graffiti agency, so that they need to be transparent. That is what it is about this government. And I also think that Fubara saying that a governor is not a leader of the party, we all know that even if it's not constitutional, that even both PDP, APC, whoever that is a state governor is automatically or indirectly the leader of that party. And just like you rightly mentioned, Wike is neither a party APC member, nor, and he has been expelled, or even issued a certificate that are no longer part of PDP. You can't be more Catholic than a pope. If the state chairman or the national chairman of APC said Fubara is now the leader of the party in their state. So who are you? So, but regardless of that, the issue of 50 billion or not 50 billion, I think it should be looked into, so that they can come and play and tell us what went down with that. Even if it's 30 billion, it's not a small money. How much did people got? What were the restoration they said they did? How much was the cost? Who got what and all of that? So they should be made clear so that people can repose their trust in them. I'm sure they were waiting for a lot of interesting in Rivers State come 2027. But mind you, the governor has shown loyalty to the Mr. President. I'm sure election is just a game of numbers. So let's see what will happen come 2027, especially in Rivers State. But I think it's becoming clearer now that FCT Minister is losing the grip that he thought he had before.
Well, we can almost guess what would happen in 2027. Well, of course, there are political surprises ahead of that time. But let's head to New Telegraph this morning, and the New Telegraph is focusing on something entirely different from the politics that we started off with. Anti-terrorism fight. U.S. Christmas Day bombing killed many terrorists. That's ascribed to Amakri. I believe that's a retired Director General of the Department of State Services. And there are a number of riders here, starting with, says, precision bombing targeted Lakrawa terrorists in Bauni Forest. Army confirms U.S.-led airstrikes neutralized Sokoto terror camps. NAF destroys IED structure, kills scores in Zamfara. Troops neutralize senior Boko Haram commanders in Borno. DSS arrests suspected killers of neurology professor. And so, you know, the remainder of the riders, you know, record the gains of the military in the last couple of hours. But it also focuses on the biggest question that has emerged out of the Christmas Day U.S. drone strikes on Sangaya and Jabo village in Tambua local government areas, with many asking questions about whether or not there were tangible results in the killings of terrorists. But the retired DSS Director General is letting us understand now that indeed, former assistant director, that indeed terrorists were killed. Where are you on this, Mr. Ifetayo?
Yeah, in as much as the people who are charged with the security, our security agencies said that they make so much gain, you know, in killing, in neutralizing, and destroying Boko Haram and all of that. We want to ride with them. But of course, when the locals are saying that this thing, there's no such in our community, they just drum bomb, you know, sometimes some of these things they don't want to come out playing. It's very unrealistic for government to say we have made a mistake. Even if you are saying that maybe out of 5 missions, we were able to successfully execute 4, but one went missing, and you apologize, you restore, you compensate, you rebuild. That's to show the trust. But if locals are saying different thing and our government is telling us different thing, as much as they are making some gains, at least they should be transparent in their operation, in whatever the outcomes it is, you know. Unlike the US that we know, they will name so person, the commander of this, being killed in this operation and all of that. But we don't have all that. They are just saying some of their leaders have been killed, some of the Boko Haram have been killed. Well, let's just hope that they are not coming back to haunt those communities. But in the last few weeks, in the last few months, I think the military and whether vigilante or machinery or whatever private security they were using, so to say, are starting to be corrected. They've been doing an amazing job, especially the last time you recollect that all the children were released and all of that. So let's give it to them. But the question that were raised by the locals should not be brushed aside, should be looked into properly.
All right. This Nigeria is next with the lead. Makinde lied. I never offered PDP to Tinubu, says Wike. Fubara, not APC leader in River State, doesn't respect agreements. And he actually spoke to subsidy and money states are getting, saying subsidy removal makes more money available to states. So I know that this has been spoken about time and again. But when he says it never offered a PDP to the president, but on the flip side, he says that he will support the president. Are those different narratives, one and the same, or do you see any difference here? Mr. Ifetayo, I will just give you a moment to adjust your device. I see you're trying to do that, but please confirm if you can hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you. Just a few minutes.
Sure. Take your time.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'm with you now.
Yeah, so I was asking the FCT Minister saying the Oyo State governor lied, that he never offered PDP to Tinubu. But on the flip side, he's also said that he's going to be supporting the president and voting for the president. So is that one and the same or different?
No, but everybody knows that the position of Minister Wike, so it's not surprising if, to me, in my opinion, if Governor Makinde said that he made that statement, because all his action has been tending towards that, has shown sometimes they take themselves to court, they say we are the original national or caretaker or group that has hold of PDP with us and all of that. And since he's been expelled, I think he should let us know the party he wants to join. But saying that Fubara is not the leader of the... you can't be more Catholic than a Pope. You are not part of this party, so you can't decide who gets what or who lead what. But just like we said, some interesting days are with us during the coming election in 2027, especially in Rivers State. So whether he lied or not, that was just like I said, the anti-graftity agency, it should be part of those things, because people are occupying at that level, and in as much whether it's confidential or not, it's obvious that what he's been doing all this while before he was expelled. If you want to be, there's a Yoruba adage that if you want to be here, be here. If you want to be there, be there. So let's know where you stand. But it's neither here nor there. So please, just let it be. Whatever it is, they said that I was saying that Makinde lied. But it's obvious that what he has been doing all this while is not far from the truth.
Well, that is on the one hand. But, there are other issues that Nigerians are
yes, you talk about subsidy removal,
yes,
making more money, giving more resources to the state government. I've said in this forum that it is high time even our state governors begin to publish, this is what we got for this, whether intervention from federal government, this is what we generated, internally generated revenue, this is what we got for allocation, and 2 naira has been used for this, 3 naira has been used for this, 1 naira has been used for that. But there's this thing of secrecy when it comes to the state of finance in some of our states in Nigeria, that is only is kept to their chest alone, which is not good for them. That's why it's difficult for Nigeria or average Nigerian to trust a politician. I'm sure if we didn't hear about the issue of 50 billion or 30 billion now, it will have just been swept under the carpet. Or if, let's say, both leaders, they are still in the same rapport, they are still in the same party, they are still going the same direction, I'm sure the allegation or counter allegation will not make the air. But I see what is happening now. So those are the things. They have much resources now. What are they doing with it? Is the infrastructure they claim or they put in place, is it measurable to what they have gotten in the last 2-3 years? So those are the things, question begging for an answer. And I think not just whether Rivers State or your state, I think all the state governors should render on a yearly basis the account of their stewardship, not just waiting on the day of election. In the last 1 year, we made so much from this, we made so much from that. We have given this contract out, this one is 70% completed or ongoing, and people can see the state of affairs. I think it's high time citizens begin to ask questions. And I want to say this, in as much as the federal government want to release funds, whether they belong to their same party or other party, they should make it public. These are taxpayers' money. So have been released to this state government for A, B, C, and D, or it has been released for infrastructure, it has been released for security, it has been released for that. In as much as they still have their security vote that they didn't make open and they use it at their own will. So I think these are the money of taxpayers. They should let us know how they spend it or how they use it. Yes, subsidy gives states more money, but the question is the infrastructure on ground, is it commensurate with what they have gotten in the last 2 years? That's the main question.
Very important questions, particularly when you look at the top right corner of this Nigeria. It says Nigeria's tax ombudsman begins operation January the 1st. That's according to officials. So the government is widening the tax net, says that it's going to reduce the tax burden on the poor and increase for the rich. But the point is there's going to be more collections in that sense, more effective collections. So we have to also ensure that there's more accountability, transparency, because I cannot be paying taxes and I don't know how much or how the taxes are being used. It's not no one's personal money. It's Nigeria's commonwealth. So very important point, and it must be made time and again. Well, Mr. Adini Fetai, we have to thank you so much for your time joining us to walk through the big stories. Thank you once again.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
We'll take a moment now, and when we return, of course, as we said, we'll be speaking with the Federal Road Safety Corps on the fatal accident involving Anthony Joshua. We'll also be touching on party matters with the NNPP, as well as other big stories making the rounds. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, and we begin with politics. It's not about the PDP or the APC this time. It's about the new Nigeria People's Party. Reports about the planned defection of the state government, the governor by extension, to the All Progressives Congress may have divided the party, with party members in Kano State reportedly being opposed to this move, especially because the national leader of the party is also, according to reports, not in support. Let's get an aerial view perspective of what exactly is happening with the new Nigeria People's Party as far as this development is concerned. And joining us on the program this morning, we have Mr. Ogini Olakwosi. He is the National Secretary of the new Nigeria People's Party. He joins us virtually on the program this morning. Mr. Olakwosi, thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning. Thank you, and Happy New Year's in advance.
Happy New Year to you too. So let's begin with what is the official position of the party at the national level to this planned defection of the Kano State governor to the All Progressives Congress, beyond the reports that we're getting from Kano itself?
Thank you very much. And I want to use this opportunity to congratulate all Nigerians that as we are ushering 2026, we are getting to a new dimension of politics by which everybody will be looking forward to 2027, which is a kind of a deciding year where Nigerians will elect new leaders. Having said that, political party is a voluntary organization. And I want to say it loud and clear here that Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso and Kwankwasia Group, they joined New Nigeria People's Party less than 3 years ago. And he came along with Governor Abba Yusuf and all other people like Senator Nkuyi, who are also from the TNM and other groups that came to join New Nigeria People's Party. And it is highly unfortunate that these renegades of politicians that are not ready to serve, they pretend to Nigerians. They pretend to the commoners, the electorates, as if they have something to offer. They don't have what we call politics of ideology. So as a matter of fact, we know that there are a lot of mistakes that have been made by accepting Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso and Kwankwaso Group that were politically naked before 2023 election to come into a party, and they were clothed by the benevolence of Dr. Boniface Okechukwu Aneboda. who is the founder of New Nigeria People's Party. And that is the name that they are afraid to hear. Even God himself that created heaven and earth, for every political party, every institution, there must be some people behind it that created it. So Dr. Boniface Okechukwu Anebodem was the masterminder and the person behind the coming of Kwankwaso to New Nigeria People's Party through his benevolence. Not know the kind of person he is that they are just nomadic politicians. They are not playing politics of ideology. New Nigeria People's Party is a party with ideology. So whatever is coming from Kano, that they want to move to APC, they are planning to, enough of all this grandstanding and all these stories. Let them be man enough to do whatever they want to do. These people, they want to use NNPP as a bargaining power with the presidency. I want to use this opportunity to make it known to the president that Kwankwaso is not the owner of NNPP, and Abba Yusuf is under suspension, even as a governor, as a sitting governor.
All right.
I was the one that the NWC of our party gave the mandate to announce his suspension.
Well, Mr. Orgini,
so he's a governor that is already suspended.
Right, Mr. Orgini, just
and we thought that maybe he will see reasons to come back and sit down with the party.
Quickly,
and do the
Mr.
right thing.
Mr. Orgini, quickly,
So
let's try to situate some issues. If you can hear me, Mr. Orgini, let me come in quickly here so we can situate some issues for Nigerians. Your claim to the position of National Secretary of the party, NNPP, is deemed illegal because just a quick look at INEC's website shows that you are not recognized as a National Secretary. Instead, Mr. Dipo Olayoku is recognized, and National Chairman Dr. Ajuji Ahmed is recognized. So just to situate that, so Nigerians know what INEC recognizes and understands at least your own claim in proper context. So where are you in all of this? You don't seem to be supporting Kwankwaso, you don't seem to be supporting the governor of Kano State. And you in Ogun State, I mean, a lot of people see you as an appendage of the APC. So what exactly is playing out here, at least from your own side? Who are you in support of?
Okay, Kolu, let me say this loud and clear. Number one, the Federal Capital Territory judgment of 3rd of April 2025 has affirmed us and has declared Agbo major-led executive.
Please go ahead, Mr. Ogini.
They have declared Agbo major-led executive as the authentic leader of New Nigeria People's Party. Talking of FCT judgment now, and the beauty of that judgment that produced Comrade Ogini Olakosi Sunday as the National Secretary of this party is that it was Kwankwaso's group led by Ajuji that went to court as plaintiff to challenge a legitimate convention, and they lost, and their case was dismissed, and they become the judgment debtor in FCT judgment of 3rd of April. And we have approached INEC, we have written to INEC to update the record of our party in accordance with the legitimacy of that convention. And you know, we have Supreme Court judgment that have said it loud and clear that it's only a political party that can determine their leadership. And the New Nigeria People's Party has declared their leadership. So what remains for INEC is just to update. And thank God, we have said it in different fora. I've called out a press conference about it, that we have new sheriff in town. Mahmoud Yakub may be dilly-dallying, they may have anything they are doing at the back with Mahmoud Yakub. It doesn't concern us. We believe in democratic system that we have, And we are pursuing it legitimately to ensure that what the court says, because they have gone to challenge a legitimate convention and they failed, therefore, INEC has no led by Agbo Major, and which I am the authentic national secretary of the party. So Okikiolu, the issue of whether I am on the INEC list for that, it doesn't come around to sustain anything.
Mr.
AA, about 2 weeks ago, their record was updated. And I can tell you that we have a professor of law now at the hands of affair of INEC. And he knows what the law says. So if Yakubu Mahmoud has done all the mess there, we know that Professor Joe Asabi-Piton will do justice.
Well, Mr. Guinea.
We are not deterred, we are not bothered about that.
Mr. Guinea, pardon me if I may come in here. In some cases, you know, on INEC's website, in the section for political parties, the executives, if they're contended, in some cases, they may be put out there as contended. But in this case, there's no contention. There's no rider saying national secretary by court order. All these executives here are clearly stated without any contention. So we wonder where your own challenge as far as court litigations are concerned is coming from. But we await whatever outcomes of the litigations that you are referring to. But still, you have not been categorical about where you stand or where your group of the party stands as far as this planned defection is concerned. You say some people are only using the NNPP to negotiate. Who are these some people that you're referring to? Please give us clarification.
Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso is the one that is trying to hold the party in the jugular just for negotiation. And I want to say it loud to all Nigerians, that some of them that are parading themselves that they want to lead the country, they want to be president, they know they can't be anything. They are just using that presidential ticket as a meal ticket. I was the one that the party also used to challenge Kwankwaso to drag him to FCT for all the money he collected concerning the 2023 election, and the case is still with FCT as we are speaking now. And he was the one that rushed to Kano Court to stampede the investigation of FCT. If Kwankwaso is man enough, if he's as clean as he claimed to be, if it's the truth that Agora is claiming to be, let him stop and say FCT are available for investigation.
So is your
written a letter, and the letter, the FCT, they have acted decisively on it, and I believe investigation is going, and nobody should be greater than heading Nigeria. Now, coming to 2027, or they want to move here as nomadic politician, like I said, we are not bothered, because NNPP has been winning election before the advent of Kwankwaso and his group. So rather than being a blessing to this party, Kwankwaso and his Kwankwasia group, they are more of a curse to NNPP. Because since they have came, there has been a lot of rancoring and all things. We accepted them in good faith. We welcomed them in good faith with the benevolence of Dr. Boniface Okechukwu and Ebola. But they are betrayers. They disappointed the party because what Kwankwaso really wants to do is to steal the intellectual property of another person and make it his own. He was parading the party as if he's the founder of NNPP.
Mr. Ogini, Mr. Olakosi, pardon me if I may come in here. I'd like you to appeal to you to choose your words carefully, especially because those whom you're, casting aspersions on, quote and unquote, are not here to defend themselves. But if you have reservations about the position and influence of Dr. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso in the NNPP, what exactly then is your position or the position of your group as far as the planned defection of the governor of Kano State is concerned? Are you in support or against?
I said it, my dear sister, that the governor is under suspension, and the suspension has been extended, thinking that he will come back and reason along to look at the. They know the truth. They know the root of the party. They know where the party belongs, and because he has been moving around with Kwankwasor and his Kwankwasia group, we slam suspension on the sitting governor. That is where we are different from PDP. We are not afraid of anybody. And Kwankwasor, as we are speaking, has been expelled from the party. So trying to use the name of NNPP that they want to move to APC is still using this as a meal ticket. They should go to APC as a Kwankwasia group. Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwasor has a right as a Nigerian to move to any political party of his choice. He has been jumping from one party to the other over the years. This is the truth before Nigerians. Kwankwasor has been in PDP, has been in APC, he came to NNPP, he wants to go to the PDP or he wants to go to ADC again. Shouldn't make anybody jittery at all. That is their nature. These people are nomadic politicians. They are not running politics of ideology. They are running politics of stomach infrastructure. They are saying that they want to get ticket to be president just to fetter their and also to enrich themselves. It's not because of service. We've discovered that, and we have the evidence, and we have challenged Kwankwasor in front of EFCC and competent courts. So what we are saying is that as a legitimate new Nigerian People's Party, it is good riddance to bad rubbish that they want to leave the party. It won't make anybody jittery. Nobody is bothered about it. Nobody is worried about it. Let them be man enough of grandstanding and telling stories. Enough of telling people that we want to go today, we are going tomorrow, trying to bring attention to themselves. They are just trying to invite unnecessary attention. They want the president to know that, oh, we have a party in our hand, and they don't have any party in their hand. They are already partyless. They have no option than to move to APC or to any party they are talking about. And the problem within them is that probably the governor wants to do something. Kwankwasor that is holding him in the jugular still want to do another thing. And as a matter of fact, as a political party, we are not afraid of that. We are saying bye-bye to them. Let them go on time. Enough of all these grandstanding and stories. They want to use NNPP as a political party to negotiate. And we are telling Nigerians that they are not bringing our party to negotiate. They are going to that alliance as an individual. It is their constitutional right to do that. Right. Rabiu Musa Kwankwasor has the right when he came, we accepted him. If you want to go to his negotiating with ADC in the night, he will be talking about APC. When you talk about APC, you will see him criticizing the president.
All right, Mr. Ogini, well, some have said that. Isn't this what, in quote, smaller political parties are all about, using them as negotiation with the big parties, some sort of bargaining chip here and there? That's what has been said time and again. But just to be clear, if you say that you've suspended the governor of Kano State, so it means that the NNPP does not have a state, or your NNPP does not have a state it governs. Even for the lawmakers as well, what does NNPP, at least your NNPP, what can you lay claim as at least an evidence of success as a political party?
Thank you very much. That we have a successful outing in Kano, and we have a governor, does not mean that we should condone indiscipline. The problem of this country today is that political party fail to rise up to occasion. And I love what the president said, that it will not help any political party that is in crisis, that is happy to see them in that pain. For instance, our brothers in PDP, they caused the problem for themselves because they were unable to instill discipline. They were afraid of suspending people they needed to do at the right time. What they did now was doing the right thing at the wrong time. And that is why PDP is where nobody should blame the president for that. In NNPP, we did what is right at the right time because we are not afraid. The governor is not the one feeding us, not the one building the party that I stayed there for 22 years. So why should we be afraid to tell him and to tell the truth to the power? This is the governor that you have in history of Nigeria, that the secretary to that government, Bichi, resigned because the governor did not listen to what they are telling him. He wants to be following.
Well, Mr. we lost you momentarily. But it looks like a connection glitch. But we'll try and reestablish connection with Mr. Olakwasiogi. Okay, go ahead. I think we have you back now.
New Nigeria People's Party, we are not afraid to do the right thing at the right time. So,
well, the connection strikes again. Mr. Ogini, we'll try this one more time.
It's because we believe in God, and we believe that we can welcome people into our midst without any problem. As far as we are concerned, the leader, the deputy minority leader in the House, Honorable Madaki, is still with us in the party. He's still a member of NNPP, the original NNPP, the NNPP with the basket of fruit, the NNPP that have a lot of promises of new Nigeria for Nigerians. They are still with us. So even those people that left, like Senator Kawu, Honorable Ruru, they left because of this attitude of Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso has dragged a lot of people are now out of the party. So they know that they can't win any election again. And they are fair. We can't even give them our ticket. Where is the ticket for a suspended governor to run? He has no option than to look for where to go. So we cannot say that because we are successful in Kano, we will condone indiscipline. Indiscipline is one of the problems because nobody is afraid to do anything, because nobody is asking questions. This is the political party that we have been bold enough to suspend a sitting governor. It is on record. This is a political party that we are bold enough to expel Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso despite his popularity, because we discovered that they are not coming to us to serve. They are pretenders. They are not contenders. And we want Nigerians to be weary of them. NNPP has exposed them. Like even where they are going, they know that if you sell your brother for free, those people that will buy them your brother from you will not even trust you. They are not people to be trusted. What our founder, our spiritual leader, Dr. Boniface Okechukwu and Ebona did was in good faith to welcome Kwankwaso and make sure that it's comfortable without a dime. Let them come and say it to all Nigeria. They joined this party without paying a dime. Even Kwankwaso did not pay for his presidential nomination. I'm saying it loud and clear. We welcome all of them on a free ticket.
All right.
And now they have the victory. All what they want to do is to steal the intellectual property of this party and for Kwankwaso to convert the party to its own personal estate, which is unacceptable and it can never be possible.
Mr. Gini.
And we thank God for the justice of Justice Hassan that has made it clear that they have no power to challenge a legitimate convention that produced me as the secretary and produced Major Habo as the national chairman of this great party.
Mr. Ogini, your position on all of these issues, is reflective of the deeper issues dividing the New Nigeria People's Party, and we wonder what the NNPP would look like after the defection, or if the governor of Kano State indeed defects. But we must thank you, for bringing your own insights to the challenges within the party, and we hope for, an amicable resolution. Mr. Ogini Olakwasiogi is National Secretary of the NNPP. Well, let's put it out there. That is National Secretary of a group of the NNPP. Thank you for coming on the program.
All the group, the authentic NNPP, for God's sake.
Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
It gets interesting where politicking is concerned in Nigeria. We'll take a moment now. When we return, it'll be time to get updates from that ghastly accident that claimed the lives of 2 aides of heavyweight boxer Anthony Joshua. But as we told you earlier, Anthony Joshua himself and one other passenger in the vehicle are in stable condition, thankfully. We'll get updates on that event after this timeout. Do stay with us.
Nigerians and the global community are still reeling from yesterday's fatal accident involving heavyweight boxer Anthony Joshua. His friends and allies, two of them, sadly died in that accident. And we're following up, speaking with the Public Relations Officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Ogun State. So Dunsi Afolabi joins us virtually on the program. You're welcome to the show. A lot has been said, statements have been put out, but as the first responders to that sad event, I would like you to walk us through that accident yet again. How did it happen, Sautosin?
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, please, go ahead.
It was quite unfortunate that the much more preventable issue happened. And why did I say much more preventable? Now, we do speak about overspeeding and wrongful overtaking. Human factors will come into display at every point in time there is a crash. What happened yesterday was basically that the driver that was involved in that ghastly accident, driving Anthony Joshua, was on a very high speed. He wrongfully overtook and hit a station vehicle that was parked at the extreme shoulder of the road. So there was no way he could have been able to save every other person in that vehicle. So just fortunately enough that the part of the vehicle that had the impact was the right-hand side that he wrongfully overtook and hit the truck. The driver and Anthony Joshua are hale and healthy. They've been taken away by the DSS that was attached to him, so an undisclosed hospital. But from what we had, they are responding, they are much more better. But the two bodies have been taken to the morgue nearby so that later on they will be identified and the families will do the needful. So while doing all this, before now, the sector commander, Ogun, arm of Federal Road Safety, Corps Commander Akiwumi Fashakin, himself and two other teams during Christmas time were on patrol, especially on overspeeding. What they did, differently from what we have been doing before, was to put into effect the laser gun that could pick overspeeding vehicles from distance, and up to 50-something vehicles were picked for violating speed-related offenses, and they were ticketed and won. So we have observed before now that the cause of most crashes that claims life has to do with overspeeding, which leads to loss of control and every other thing. So that is what happened.
So let's try to get some details. What is the speed limit for the highway?
On expressway, it is 100 kilometers per hour.
That's a speed limit?
Yes, it's 100 kilometers.
So you've pinned this down from your preliminary investigations, and we understand that there will be more investigations, but you sort of pinned this down to what you describe as overspeeding. But let's speak about the secondary truck, which was, you said, parked on the shoulder. What does the law say about parking on the shoulder? What are the things that should be put in place? What is a time limit for parking on the shoulder? Because the shoulder is not a parking lot, right? So what does the law say about the things that must be put in place in terms of caution and the time limit that a truck or any vehicle should be parked on the shoulder, knowing fully well that it's not a parking lot?
Yeah, it's not a parking lot. For any vehicle, for instance, we do tell people that if you must receive call or make call or do any other thing. You pull over to the shoulder, do what you have to do, and leave. So for that vehicle, based on information getting to us, it was just moving there, parking, awaiting free flow so that it could move. So it was not as if it was a broken down vehicle. It was not a broken down vehicle. That was one. Two, from information we got, because we all have power bikes that roams around the expressway, our power bike, and that of Trace too. They go around toll through to see if there's any broken down vehicle or any vehicle that has parked more than necessary. Or if somebody parked and probably was trying to fix the vehicle, obviously there should be a caution sign to show or indicate that this vehicle was broken down, and there was nothing of such.
Well, sir, I don't know what the scope of your operations are, but since you're the public relations officer for the Ogun Command, I believe it is, runs through the stretch of the expressway as far as Ogun is concerned. And there are tons, if you like, a good number of trucks parked, especially along the Ibafo axis of the expressway. And just weeks ago, there were reports that the truck drivers, went on strike or something. There was an altercation that led to traffic on the expressway. So to what extent is the efficiency of your operations to ensure that there are no vehicles parked on either side of the expressway? And to what extent are you collaborating with the Lagos office of the FRSC to ensure sanity on the expressway?
Thank you. That last week, the time we were trying to talk about, yes, it took the intervention of Federal Road Safety, the police, and Trace to clear the obstruction done by the tanker drivers, and which their vehicle were made to leave the road and there were free flow of vehicle. Also, with the collaboration with the Federal Road Safety Lagos Command, the Sector Commander Ogun, in person of Corps Commander Fasha Kinwumi, with the Sector Commander of Lagos State, person of Corps Commander Kendi Amzat, with police officers and also with Nigerian Civil Defense and Corps, did a joint patrol as well along that axis to ensure, even also the FEMA was there as well to synergize so that the free flow of vehicle from that axis down to Ogun State would not be disrupted, which it was effective, and it's part of what we keep doing and we will not stop doing. Well,
if you're still doing it, there's a huge question mark on the deliverables from what you're doing, because those trucks are permanently parked. It's a route that we travel daily on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and we can tell you that those trucks are permanently parked at the Bafo end and also on the Opik end of the expressway. They're permanently parked. So if the FRSC is doing anything to get those trucks off the expressway, we would, of course, know that indeed something is being done. Just to let you know that that is the situation of things there. But talk to us about, we see the damage done to the Lexus SUV that was transporting Anthony Joshua and his friends. So it's indicative of the severity of the accident. But if we could just stretch it a little, if there had been emergency services arriving the scene on time, would those two aides of Anthony Joshua, would they have survived by any stretch of the imagination?
If there were emergency services right there on the spot, the same thing could have happened. Why I'm saying so is that the point of impact matters a lot. Now, we talked about overspeeding. It was an excessive one. For instance, why it was stated that 100 km/h on express
is in case of an eventuality, if there's going to be a crash, it would not be fatal. Why that was fatal was basically excessive speeding, excessive. And at that point, there was nothing that could have been done. The driver that drove the vehicle probably was only able to salvage it a bit. Otherwise, it could have been a different story entirely. And that's why when we were talking about taking your safety into your hands, it has to do with passengers. You talk to your drivers, please take it slowly. Also, I'm not talking to the driver. These are things that happens.
Okay, so first off, we need to have the signs that say this is a speed limit for the highway, 100 kilometers. It should be there for people to see, because I can bet you a lot of people do not know that is the speed limit. But let's do some housekeeping. How many minutes after the accident did you arrive? Did emergency responders arrive?
Our team got there nothing less than 5 minutes to that point where the issue arrived. Like the question she asked initially, that if we were on that spot, that would there have been a fatality? Like I said, there would still have been a fatality. Now, the severity of a crash is majorly dependent on the level of speed the person or the driver is at. Some, we have what we call distracted driving. When you are driving and you are engaging yourself with your passengers, anything could happen. Then, aside of that, the issue of speed limits, we do encourage people that if you must learn how to drive, go to accredited driving school, whereby you'll be taught both theoretical and practical aspects of driving.
I understand that, Mr. Falabi. I'm saying the signs, there should be signs that this is the speed limit on the highway as you have in other climes. So if you say you got there 5 minutes, or about 5 minutes after the crash, what did you go there with? What happened to the emergency ambulance service came? Why was it transported in that van? That is something that has left a very bad taste in the mouth for a lot of people. So what exactly happened to the ambulance?
Now, the first point of contact were the patrol team. They were the first people that were informed, because we are not stationary. So they're the first set of people that were informed. So the first thing they have to do, contact the office, and they moved immediately there. So on getting there, they saw what was on ground and called the ambulance in Shagamu. So as of the time those ones got there, the injured already has been cleared, while the killed were taken to the morgue. But those that were informed, that were the closest people, were on patrol, mobile patrol, and they got there within that minute.
So do you have an idea how long it took that ambulance to get to the scene of the accident?
And the time the ambulance got to the place should have been maybe 15 minutes or thereabout. The reason is the fact that the Shagamu axis, it was our unit in Shagamu that were on patrol that went to that place and to inform the ambulance units at that interchange to go to the scene.
I'm sorry, how long did it take for that ambulance to get there?
Now I can't ascertain the time, but as of the time the first team of Federal Safety Rescue Team got there, what they met there was that it was already a dead body, and they met Anthony Joshua and the other person, whereby they're trying to salvage the situation. So while they were doing that, they had to whisk them away because most of those sympathizers came for something or the other. So as they were leaving, that was when the ambulance itself got there.
So help us understand the structure. By the way, there are lots of questions that Nigerians are putting in? Because this is something they experience daily on the highway. They see the attitude of commercial buses and the rest. But help us understand, on the stretch of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway or highway, as the case may be, how many ambulance points do we have? Because if you're saying Shagamu, is that the only one we have on that whole stretch of road?
No, we have plus or minus for federal road safety. We'll have like 4 ambulances along that stretch. The distance at which each one is and to that location differs. But the closest team of federal road safety were the people that got there within that few minutes and did what they did there before the closest ambulance got to that stretch.
Right. So to the questions that a lot of people want to also know about, I imagine that lessons have been learned from this. I mean, the whole Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is about 120 plus kilometers. So if we indeed have 4, how operational are they? What kind of equipment do they have for emergency response? Whatever happened to the FRS's helicopter for emergency response and for traffic monitoring? But I want you to speak to the enforcement of bus stops for buses on that route to park to pick passengers, the way they, and I'm talking about the commercial buses, the yellow buses, the smaller yellow ones, because their conduct on the road leaves very much to be desired, and they have caused a lot of accidents in the way they park to pick passengers, how they're able to just park immediately without indicating. It's really like a war zone, really, if you have to drive through that route. And I'm talking about those hot spots all the way to Bega. So what exactly is happening? Is the FRC overwhelmed by all of this? Is it that you don't have enough manpower, or there's some sort of shady deal happening there, so you just look away while they carry on?
Well, it is a thing of concern, and one of the things we believe in FRSC is to enlighten. When you enlighten a person, the attitudinal change depends on the person. Now, before we now go for enforcement. Now, you understand that along that route, federal road safety is there, LASMA is there for Lagos end, then our own end here in Ogun State, we have Trace. Now, the union people are the one collecting their tax from the buses. And once we apprehend you for obstructing the traffic, what we do is to get the vehicle down to our office, ticket it, give them public enlightenment, show them videos of what could have happened to them if eventually it happens. And that is why during this time, we decided to domesticate it by going to different churches and mosques to go and do what we call domesticated PE, by talking to those that will listen and those that will tell another person that this is the right way. And we want to talk to other road users as well. If somebody is doing the wrong thing, don't join the person in doing that wrong thing. You know where you're supposed to stop. You don't stop at the middle of the road and thereby trying to enter a bus. Before you know it, a vehicle coming from the rear will ramp over you. So your own safety should be in your hands as well. So it is a joint stuff. Like we said in federal road safety, I will keep saying that safety is everybody's business that we have to look into the way it ought to. And
there has to be better enforcement. I'm sure you agree with that. We have the law enforcement agencies like the FRC to enforce the law, not just on private vehicles. Commercial vehicles, if you park indiscriminately, you are fined, you are arrested. If you commit any road offense, you should be, fined and of course apprehended as well. So it should apply to all of us. But we have to thank you so much, Public Relations Officer, FRC Ogun State, Mr. Odunsi Afolabi. Thank you for your time. Just quickly, what is the emergency response number for people who are involved in an accident and have to quickly call?
Well, the toll-free line is 122. It's a toll-free line. You don't need to have credit on your phone. You dial it. Once you dial, give us the location. So the nearest team will get to that point.
What's the number again?
Nearest.
What is the number again, please?
122.
122.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Toll-free.
All right. Thank you very much. Just for Nigerians, 122. And he's assuring that you can actually call and you will get a response. Thank you and wish you the very best. And lessons have been learned. We must implement them. Just before we switch gears now, let's show you this video that the heavyweight boxer Anthony Joshua put up on his social media playing table tennis with his friend Latif Ayodele, his personal trainer and confidant. You know, just playing table tennis, having a great time. Healthy_mindset is his social media handle. That's Latif Ayodele. And you see, just having a great time, dishing out table tennis smoke, Anthony Joshua says. But sadly, he died in that road accident. We'll take a quick break now, and when we return, there are lots of people who are spending the last days of 2025 in darkness as a result of the national grid, which experienced disturbance. What exactly is going on, and can we just end this with 2025? Let's find out in a moment. Stay with us.
Welcome back. So what's the power situation like at your end, wherever you're watching from? Has power begun to be restored, especially after reports by the mainstream media yesterday that at about 2 p.m. The power situation came to zero, but hours later restoration efforts began with some of the power stations beginning to report over 120 megawatts, in some situations over 140 megawatts. And so what exactly is the culture of maintenance like for power stations in 2025 as against what was reported in 2024? Let's get an understanding of the progress and challenges of the Ministry of Power as, you know, the efforts to get Nigeria to enjoy 24 hours of power supply continues in 2025. And so it's an important conversation to have, also against the backdrop of, you know, the efforts by the Regulatory Commission to hand over regulation of the power market to states of the Federation, which also has been ongoing. And how effectively have the states also been showing up, you know, when you also consider the Electricity Reform Act passed by the former administration that now gives states the, you know, the power and the wherewithal to also legislate for power. How are they showing up? What are the interventions that are being provided, you know, against the backdrop of, you know, Nigeria having an abundance of, you know, natural resources to be able to, you know, provide power supply for itself? So it's a critical conversation to have.
And for more context, data from the distribution companies we call DISCOs sometimes revealed that only 2 operators received electricity at the time of the collapse yesterday. Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company recorded a load of 30 megawatts, and Abuja Electricity Distribution Company received 20 megawatts. All other companies were allocated 0, meaning Eko, Enugu, Ikeja, Jos, Kaduna, Kano, Port Harcourt. I must say that I also experienced it, but later, I think midnight, power was restored. But come on. This is December 30th. Is this how we want to get into the new year, Bukola?
Certainly not. Let's find out more from our guest who joins us now virtually. Mr. Ayodele Oni is an energy lawyer. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
So let's begin with maybe a comparison, which is important, between 2024 and 2025. There was a record, about a dozen, power grid collapses recorded in 2024 as against just a number that we have seen in 2025. What are the, reforms that have been put in place that have reduced the power grid collapses that we have recorded in 2025, and how can those reforms be maintained?
Thank you very much. Very, very good question. A number of things have been done. One of them, and you may have heard and may have confused a lot of people initially, there's the free governor regime, which the NERC introduced, such that power generating units can sort of control frequency where there are challenges on the grid. That's one. Secondly, the emergency management system has improved. We always spoke about the supervisory control and data acquisition, which can remotely monitor the system. I think government has looked at that, and if you go to Oshogbo, that's the National Control Center, you'd find out that you've got SCADA in place, and an emergency management system too has improved. There's also been a number of transmission projects with government working with Siemens, the distribution companies too have done some infrastructural development and improved equipment, because we always spoke about poor emergency management. The issues were technical and commercial, right? Aging infrastructure and all of that. So I think this is probably fourth this year compared to about a dozen last year and previously. Between I think 2020 and 2022, we had over 200, maybe 246. We had quite a number, right? So it's progressively improved, but there's still quite a bit of work to be done. So you have SCADA, you have better infrastructure, energy management, even the commercials too, right? And you're aware that the government is looking to pay gas producers, or get GENCOs able to pay gas producers under the auspices of the government, financing arrangement the government has put in place. Because if you do not have gas supply, of course, or inconsistent gas supply, you'd also suffer the same fate, because it would then mean that there'd be a mismatch between demand and supply on the grid, because power plants, over 80% of our generation is gas-fired. So I think these have been the challenges, and government have begun to work on resolving each one, and they've been historical challenges. So that's why we see the improvement.
Dr. Oni, very interesting. While that was playing out yesterday, a lot of people saw the news that billionaire businessman Femi Otedola exited Geregu Power in a landmark $750 million deal, essentially selling his 77% controlling interests. And Geregu contributes about a tithe to national grid supply. So people are wondering, is this related? Is there something off with the the power sector? But you say that this year is even better than the previous year. So how do we ensure that next year is even much better? I know you've mentioned some of them, but we still have a situation where people are still being billed with estimated billing. There are people who believe they are paying more than they consume, perhaps as a result of the connection. Some people didn't even know that there are ways that your meter can be connected, and you end up paying more than you are meant to pay, and so reports to public complaints and all of that. So these challenges are still there, very much with us. So 2026, what should be the New Year resolutions for the power industry? I'm talking from distribution companies to generations and transmission.
Okay. First is to ensure metering. There's a metering initiative by the presidency, and I think that more efforts should be put into that. Where we suffer in Nigeria usually is implementation. We have brilliant people, we have brilliant ideas, and policies is just ensuring that implementation is properly done. And I think from a distribution angle, continuing to improve the infrastructure and the equipment, and also ensuring metering. Recall that this, the NERC, the regulator, there have been regulations around enforcing metering and ensuring that there's no estimated billing. At times, implementation then becomes, or enforcement becomes a problem. And what may even compound that problem, depending on how you see it, could make it better or compound it, is the fact that a number of states have taken over electricity regulation in their own states. So working with NERC, they should ensure that people are metered, so that if you don't get metered, then you don't pay. You know, I think that's one. Two, I think I always say generation isn't a problem in Nigeria. If we solve the transmission and distribution conundrum, then you'd have investors falling over each one another to invest in the generation bit. As long as you can also ensure that there's gas supply, right? I think people, part of what I've heard around the collapse was the helps, you know, vandalism or some damage to the Escravos Lagos pipeline, so that I call it in full. You know, it supplies gas. It's one of the major pipelines. You know, there are, maybe I can say three now: the eastern and the western, and you now have the northern coming on stream with also the AKK, the Ajaokuta Kaduna Kano. You have the Oben, you have the Escravos to Lagos pipeline. So if one of those which are now being integrated has a challenge, it affects gas supply, and if it affects gas supply to power generation companies, then it can't supply. I don't think from a generation standpoint there are issues, there are serious issues. It's transmission and distribution, because no one wants to invest in generation when, if they sell power, they don't get paid, or they can't even wheel their power from the generation plant elsewhere because transmission is poor. So government needs to continue to do a lot around transmission, work with states that have taken over the generation, the power sector within their boundaries, so that they can make progress. And I also think the gas issue needs to be resolved, and infrastructure for gas, which is already improving. You know, for a long time we had an unintegrated arrangement where ELPS was different from the eastern, but an integration is going on also with the northern one, and that's the AKK, Ajaokuta Kaduna Kano pipeline. So I think those are the things that need to be done. Then the big elephant in the room, the issue around subsidy. You know, a decision needs to be taken. It gets very controversial, particularly when states take over, whether they are then still entitled to subsidy or to consider subsidy in their tariff arrangement, right? The federal government needs to have a position. I think that it'd be a serious debate and a challenge if you say certain states won't once they take over and some states will, you know. So I think those are the issues. And infrastructure, continue to have the right guys in the right places, continue to improve infrastructure. The deal with Siemens should continue, so that we have more generation. And there are a number of grid projects too. In rural areas, you have the Rural Electrification Agency doing quite a bit with solar and off-grid and distributed generation. You know, so it's a potpourri of various things all coming together, and I must say that every government has played a role in moving us forward. You know, from the times of President Obasanjo to Jonathan, who ensured that there was privatization and taking us from the old behemoth of NEPA, PHCN to having the private sector. So let's just continue to move things forward as they seem, because a number of people would say power has improved where they live, particularly those in Band A. So we just need to continue to move forward. Like where I do stay, the estate does have its own independent power generation, and I wasn't even aware of initially aware of the grid collapse. So I think everyone is doing something or the other to improve and to move us forward in the sector. We just need to do much more.
Speaking of one component in that potpourri that you talk about, besides the reforms that you earlier highlighted, I wonder what your observations are as far as security around the power infrastructure itself is concerned, the power stations, because I recall there was a huge concern around security around the power stations, and there were reports of some power stations being in the hands of terrorists at the time, and there were questions of accountability from the transmission company of Nigeria. So what are your observations in that regard, and how can it be made sustainable if we have recorded progress from 2024?
Okay, I think it's similar to what you have with oil and gas. I think the structure is similar, so that host communities have skin in the game. If host communities have skin in the game, it always makes things better. You see that vandalism happening around oil and gas, oil pipelines in particular, because of the host communities trust arrangements, reduced substantially. I mean, I'm sure you also believe that for heirs holdings to be able to raise substantial sums from Afrexim, there must be good cause, right? And same, we have similar provisions in the Electricity Act, particularly with the amendment signed by the president. I think was it last year or 2 years ago? I think it was last year, early last year. So host communities. And maybe we need even more modifications so that they have more skin in the game. I think if you have more skin in the game, then they are going to ensure that, and more skin being that some of the income comes to them not necessarily directly, but in form of infrastructure, in form of maybe even some form of dividends, right? I think that's one system or one strategy that can be utilized to ensure that if people have skin in the game, they're going to do everything within their powers to protect. I'm not sure it's just about government. I think it's a collaborative approach that is required. And, modern technology, like using drones and the sort, there's been that contract some years ago. It's just whether it was enforced, whether the guys who got the contract have done what they ought to do. I think that those are important questions that need to be asked, and let host communities have more skin in the game. I think I'll leave it at that.
Indeed, a fine place to anchor, and hope that the reforms that you have talked about will be sustained, and hopefully will not be reporting power grid collapses at the beginning of 2026. Mr. Ayodele Oni is an energy lawyer who has joined us on this one. Thank you for coming through on the program.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a moment now. When we return, we have something interesting to tell and to show you. We'll keep it on the wraps. You'll find out after this time out. Stay with us.
Welcome back. We're going to share with you the beautiful story of a couple, just got married actually. So this video started trending online yesterday, the day before, and it got a lot of people talking. In fact, one of those videos on X has gotten over 1 million views. On TikTok, the same as well. So altogether, millions of views. Shows moment from the traditional wedding of Mr. and Mrs. Ewenandu. And for a lot of people who didn't understand the context, they were wondering, what is that look on Mr. Ewenandu's face? And of course, social media, it's spiraled. But you know how it is on social media. Just a little clip of your life is put out there, and a lot of people jump into conclusions. So what we've decided to do for Nigerians is to tell you the full story of Mr. and Mrs. Ewenandu, who, by the way, join us right here in our Lagos studio, fresh from honeymoon. I think your honeymoon is still on. So please welcome with us Mr. Franklin Ewenandu and his beautiful wife, Mrs. Onyikon Ewenandu.
Thank you very much.
Good morning and welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Congratulations, we must say. I don't know how it is. It's still honeymoon for you, right?
Of course. Yes.
So we're sorry for dragging you out of your honeymoon. But you guys look beautiful, I must say.
Thank you.
Regal. But I'll start with you, Mr. Franklin.
Yes, please.
What was that look on your face? Let's start with that. Because a lot of people have termed that look from the short video and said all sorts of things. So let's start with that. What was the look on your face?
It was a look of my name is Franklin Ewenandu, and I'm in the technical service industry. It was the look of a technician who walked into a hall expecting it to be cooled because we had prepared, so she had done a lot of job preparing for this, preparing for that day. The look of a technician walking into the hall expecting it to be cooled, and it wasn't, because of a faulty generator that had a bad kickstarter. So, having that in mind, I walked in calculating and then thinking of all the possibilities of getting this solved, getting everybody back into a comfortable position. And it didn't seem like it was happening anytime soon. So that look was filled with a lot of emotions, a lot of worry, a lot of thinking, a lot of things going through my head. That's what that look was. There are other videos that I'm certain you will show that showed me smiling, happy, and cheerful all through the event. I'm certain.
Oh, Kanye, you're as surprised as I am, because I've seen the video and I've seen the comments, and pardon me, Mrs. Ewenandu, I would have run away with the same opinions expressed by, commentators who were passing around and just chanced upon the video. And here you are telling us something entirely different. So naturally, my next question would go to both of you, but first of all to your wife. How did you handle those comments?
At first, I felt very bad. But he kept calming me that, this is not true. We've been together for more than 13 years. So you don't need that validation. I'm like, okay. So I started, smiling at it. At the point, there was a comment that said, because of British passport. I'm like, I've not even been there before. So how? It was just very shocking, but that's what the Nigerians do. They troll, so it's okay.
And I'm sure, the reason some of those comments have come for obvious reasons.
Yes.
But there has been another picture that has surfaced online showing you a long time ago, both of you and your husband, and you were of a different size then.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about what may have transpired in between that time and now?
So sometimes about 5 years ago, I started battling with PCOS and insulin resistance. So it's been so difficult losing weight. I've been gaining, I think for a space of 3 years, I was not seeing my monthly cycle. So that's what caused the weight gain. I had to go to hospital, do a lot of medication to maintain it, but it's still not working, but I tried. At the moment, I've been at the gym for over 6 months. So I don't know what to do about it anymore, but we're trying.
I want to focus on your love story as well. As we've said, people see a short video and they go to town. I mean, people have built castles on just that short video. They have built all sorts of things. I can't even begin to tell you the comment I have seen. Right? I had to put out a tweet. By the way, I had to do my research because I saw the video and I recognized him, like I've seen you before. And I had to do my research and I realized that it's nothing even close. And that's the danger of a one-sided story, or the danger of a short clip. So share with Nigerians your love story, just to be sure that, to give them a second level of authentication that this is actually love.
It definitely is, definitely. So I think it was late 2012 that I think it's either from liking cake. I like cakes a lot, and she makes cake. So late 2012, I walked into her mother's store and then asked for a cake. She obliged and then promised to make it in I think that same evening or so. From that moment, I think something struck. Someone who was kind, careful, cheerful, happy to be around you, always listening to what you're saying or wanting to even contribute in the most positive way. From then on, it had always been just both of us together all through. From 2012 ending to maybe 6, 7, 8 years or thereabout, and then struggles came in. It looked to us that, this won't work. This doesn't seem like it's going to go into a marriage. And we separated for about a year, and then after, within that separation period, we talked to each other every day. Can you imagine that?
Because you're from Southeast Nigeria.
Yes.
She's from Southwest.
Yes. So I'm Muslim.
And I'm a Christian. So he had
all the odds were against you, seemingly.
Yes, all the odds were against us, from the family and from the friends and also. But we survived it. We took that synergy that we had for both of us, spending time together and then being happy with each other, took it all the way, came back together, built a wonderful relationship and a wonderful marriage and wonderful businesses also. And this way it has gotten us.
I'm actually
love to
married
Nigeria.
Since 2013.
Right.
I'm sorry, 2023. We did our court wedding, but we've not done the traditional part. So we just did that on Saturday. So we've been married
Interesting. So you went to buy cake, but you ended up with a babe.
Yes.
With the cake itself.
With the cake, the real cake itself. Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you.
So it's a 13-year journey.
Yes.
And you talked about all of the odds that were stacked against you. From your own perspective, I'd like you to now address, those who may be going through similar challenge and, have family opposing a union for many different reasons. How did you survive it? And, what counsel would you have for
First of all, I think you guys have to be there for each other, no matter what. You guys have to be there for each other. Your family will eventually understand. My family at a point, because my dad is an allergy, he's late now, he's an allergy, so he kept saying, my daughter cannot marry a Christian, an evil person at that time. His father also was against it at some point. But they kept saying that I'm always very supportive and vice versa. When you guys love each other, I think once you love each other, the key word here is love. Just love each other and understand each other. Don't listen to what other people are saying. Just understand each other and understand what he likes. You understand what I like, and that's it. You guys will be fine.
So how do you navigate the religious differences between both of you, frankly?
The beautiful part here is that in all of the good qualities that my wife has, understanding seems to be the top of them all. If we discuss things, she seems to see the positivity in what has been discussed and what has been laid out. And that understanding has helped us pull through a lot of things, including the religious differences, and will keep helping us pull through forever together.
Amazing. I want to talk about engagements or traditional weddings. For men, it's a lot of work, So
I can attest it was for a lot of work for me that day.
Please, if you have a word for people who are either they call them alagas or people who plan, please, how can they make life easier for us during the, call it traditional weddings or engagement? Because we just want to go there, grab our wife and go home, but no, you have to do all sorts of things. So was that your experience as well? Because I was remembering mine, and a lot of people were sharing theirs as well.
I think the most surprising thing was the cultural difference, the huge cultural difference, the coming into a setting and a preparation of the Yoruba setup and having an Igbo background or Igbo understanding. So the point where you're not expected to smile, you're expected to be firm and then be straight to the point. In the Yoruba setup, you need to smile, you need to show that you're happy, cheerful. That difference contributed a lot in what played out. But it also spiced up the event. It also spiced up all of what happened, because people were surprised that an Igbo person was struggling to speak Yoruba the much he could and was getting it correct and wrong at some point. And then you're happy with an Igbo person, so go on with it then.
You've not told us what you love about him.
First of all, his height. I like his height.
And now she has it all.
I know.
And he just loves me the way I am. He makes me genuinely happy. Like, I don't have to pretend around him. That's what I like. I don't have to.
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, this is usually a serious show, but you're making us melt right here.
No, it's true. I was in Kenya for about a year. Through him, so I do hospitality management. I'm an event planner. So I went to go to school in Kenya. But it was one that got the whole thing, the whole link, everything. He got everything for me. I think that my dad knew, okay, it is genuine. It's not just there for just being, because most people say, 3 months, they will break up. So when he did that, my dad, okay, let me give this guy a chance.
Okay.
So that's how it started for my dad.
So how were you able to win over his family?
Oh, they loved me right from the beginning.
Oh.
It's just his dad. Not because of, maybe he did not like my size, because I was not this big then. It's just that he wanted an Igbo person for his son. That's the only thing. But when he saw me, he was like, Kachi loves you. Okay, we love you too. That's it.
Amazing, that's beautiful. What do you do? I'm quite interested. You said you entered with a technical mindset. I know what you do, but for the benefit of Nigerians.
Well, yes. In the technical service industry, I'm a welder. I build and fabricate gates,
So to those who have trolled you, who have said all sorts of things about you without knowing your story, you guys seem very gracious. What do you want to tell them? And I know this is for the future as well. What is that message you have for them in Nigerians?
I think the first thing I'll say is, it's just known that the bullying and body shaming is not good. It really affected me on the night. It really did. But my husband helped me pass through it. So the body shaming is not nice at all.
If I may add to that, I think the important message I would like to send to Nigerians is that it's the simple thing that we are more than this. We have always been a very tolerant nation, accommodating quite about everything. Even when I understand that trolling and yabbing, as they call it, seems to be part of our life. You can attest Nigeria versus Kenya, Nigeria versus South Africa, Nigeria versus Ghana. We are the AFCON now, and then we're still trolling a lot of people. Nigerians should come together and grow past this. Brands should come together and show that we as Nigerians are more than this. We as Nigerians are better people than this. And truly we are.
I love that. And I must congratulate you guys yet again and send you up back to your honeymoon. You guys look beautiful. We've been speaking with Mr. and Mrs. Ewenandu. Husband, Southeast, Christian, the wife from Southwest, Muslim. But they're making it work. Congratulations and wish you the very best.
Thank you very much.
There you have it. That has been our show for today. What was meant for evil, what was meant to troll them, has now turned around for good. So, hey, perhaps that's something for you as well. Learn to make lemonade when life hands you lemons. I'm
cheers. Yes, indeed. And cheers to many more unique love stories like the Ewenandus in 2026. Thanks for being there. We'll be back again tomorrow. Sunrise Daily is up next, by the way. So stay with Channels Television. I am Bukola Koka.